we see something new, whether it's pacu, piranhas, rudd, we see it all out there. Take one more.
Travis, your walleye information here, your data is pretty neat with the age and length. Do you have that same data on yellow perch?
Yeah, we do. And basically what it comes down to is I need to throw it all into one data set and summarize it like this. What we're seeing with perch is they're not living longer than we thought. They're still living 9, 10, 11 years, usually at most. But we're seeing a lot more spread in each individual age compared to what we thought in the past. If you have an 8-inch perch, I can't tell you how old it is. It could be 3 and it could be 10. And males really drive that. Those males hit 7.5, 8 inches and they just don't grow sometimes. Females can be as big as 12 inches in 3 years. So there's some very different growth between perch male and females. And we have it for smallmouth. Smallmouth live about 17 years. Basically, we switched to oodles for everything now. We're seeing white bass that are 8 to 10 years old in some cases. Never saw that with scales. So.
How does our pretty green algae that we're experiencing affect the fishery?
It's blue-green algae. It's primarily microcystis, and it's an indicator of a changing nutrient cycle. We're getting different forms of phosphorus into the lake compared to what we saw back in the 80s. So you have a different form of phosphorus coming in, and you have zebra mussels that within the lake recycle phosphorus through their own waste. So we're seeing completely new phosphorus cycles, which is leading to these different algae that are now thriving when they didn't 20 years ago. It is a toxic algae. It is an inedible, undesirable algae, but it'd be hard to say that there's a direct impact, at least on the sport fish. It's obviously something we'd like to see change and go away again, because there's some pretty nasty blooms we've seen. We've been out trawling, and for a mile behind us, you can see our boat path because we cut through it. It's really impressive. Not in a good way, but it's impressive. But it is an indicator of new and different nutrient cycles and different forms of phosphorus. With that, I don't want to hold up Matt and Dan anymore.
You're doing good. Back to the blue-green algae.
Yeah.
Talked to Fred Snyder and them at Sea Grant a couple of times. But, they're kind of blaming that algae on some of the dead zone stuff. Would you have a comment on that? And that's not Western Basin. I guess it falls into the Central Basin.
That West Central Basin kind of.
It forms in the West Basin, falls off into the Central Basin,
right.
Causes.
There's definitely an interaction between the dead zone and the algae blooms when you get east of Kelly's Island. I don't specifically know how the blue-green are affecting the dead zone, or if it's the other way, if the dead zone is affecting the blue-greens. I can't imagine that the dead zone itself is leading to the sole reason for the blue-green blooms, because we are seeing them so far west, and because we have the dead zone every year. We've always had it, it's always been there. It could be, if these blue-green blooms happen early enough, they could help keep the dead zone thicker and keep it longer if there's more decay down in that area, because you have dead algae falling down into the dead zone and requiring more oxygen than what was required before that. So I'm sure there's an interaction, and that's where we get into the field of limnology, and I only know enough to talk about this level about it. We have scientists at Ohio State that do nothing but study the algae and the nutrients, so I'll let them answer those questions, and everything I said has come from them.
Yeah.
Thanks for putting up with me. I apologize if you've heard this 2 or 3 times.
Thanks, Travis.
I am going to leave the computer on because I might have a few slides to help Matt and Dan out, but we'll see. If we need them, I'll use them. If not,
Okay, we're running a few minutes ahead of time. You guys want to get coffee or something that's outside the door?